What if the problem isn't you? What if you're in the wrong room? My suspicion? You're not broken and you don't need to be fixed. You have outgrown where you are. Let's get more space and freedom to redesign the life you deserve. Welcome to the Reinvention Room. I'm Allison Hare, coach for ambitious women making big changes, and we are rethinking everything we've been taught. Part pop culture, part real talk, and all smarter ways to live life on your own terms. You are going to need to buckle up for this one. It is controversial. It is a massive conversation starter, so thought-provoking. Once again, there is no way you're going to leave this episode without a crazy strong opinion and a need to bring this up in every single casual conversation you can possibly find yourself in. The question is, if you could live forever, would you? It seems pretty outlandish and, at the outset, downright ridiculous. But you may have heard of Bryan Johnson. He is known as the Don't Die guy. In fact, a new Netflix documentary just came out called Don't Die, profiling Bryan Johnson and his personal mission to literally never die. But his quest is to change healthcare and to blaze a trail for us to live better and live longer. But do it healthy, right? Have a better life. We're talking everything today, from his wild dating rules. You will not believe this. I can't wait to get into this with you. He has scheduled sex. We're going to be talking about the ethics of biohacking and why aging standards are really gendered. And is this guy playing God? And in the spirit of the Reinvention Room, we are in the midst of creative experimentation. And so for this one, I had this idea when I was talking to my friend Danielle, and I was like, she had never heard of this. I'm like, why don't we hit record? And so my friend Danielle, she owns her own law firm. As you can imagine, she loves to debate and understands how to play both sides as well. So today you are going to hear our conversation unscripted, live as it is unfolding. So I want to ask a little bit for your grace because the recording quality on my end was a little bit wonky. I'm trying to push aside some of my perfectionistic tendencies while I troubleshoot what it is, but it's good enough to go, so we are going with it. Let's talk about Don't Die with Bryan Johnson. Okay, this is something so different. And now that we are the Reinvention Room, we're reinventing a lot of things. And so today we have Danielle Laughlin on. Hey, Danielle.
Hey, Allison.
So Danielle is an incredible personal friend of mine. And the reason why this is off the cuff here is that she and I saw each other this morning. We were having coffee or tea or whatever. And I asked her, do you know Bryan Johnson, the Don't Die guy? And she's like, what is that? And I started to explain it. And I'm like, Danielle, do you think we can record this? Like, let's hold up. Let's record this conversation because I think it's important to kind of unpack this in real time because it's such a conversation starter, right? Like, have you ever heard of Bryan Johnson? Do you know the Don't Die guy?
No, I'm not familiar with this guy. And I definitely was very interested in what you were telling me about him.
Well, as I started to explain it, you know how I get so worked up over this. I thought, Danielle, what if we hold that thought? And we have this conversation live on the podcast. So here we are.
Yes. Well, you started to go down the differences between a few different distinctions that I didn't know existed. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who doesn't know what this is about.
Yeah, this happens a lot in my world too, because I'm down the rabbit hole on a lot of different zeitgeists that are happening there. So I've been following Bryan Johnson for probably over a year. This guy was really a tech millionaire and was the founder of Braintree, which had partnered with Venmo, which I think got sold to eBay. So this massive technology entrepreneur. And he grew up in the Mormon faith and left the Mormon religion. became this tech founder, was deeply suicidal at the time. He was overweight, wasn't feeling good. When he left the church, his family, he got divorced, and his family and many of his kids, he was excommunicated. So he doesn't really have a relationship with them. What Bryan Johnson is known for is that he has been implementing this protocol to figure out, can he push his body to the point where he never dies? Never dies. Could you imagine?
Yeah, I don't think I want an end.
But that's the thing. Like, what is your view on aging?
I don't want to live forever. I think we already have so much life to live, assuming we don't undergo some unforeseeable circumstance. But with modern medicine, you can really live a long time, even if you're not being terribly intentional about what you're doing. And I know that because I have a 95-year-old grandmother, and she didn't do the things to be where she is because of what the gurus tell you to do. She is that way because she has dietary restrictions, being a diabetic. So she can't really consume sugars and alcohols and things like that we know are definitely not healthy. And so I think if you can get to an age like that without trying too hard, I don't know that I would want to go much further, because your cognitive abilities will decline as far as we know. I mean, and maybe that's the point of what he's doing. If your cognitive ability does not decline, then okay, maybe that's a different situation. But it's almost like it was the movie you told me about with Demi Moore, where she was taking the pill. I even forget what it's called. I actually did watch it, but
The Substance.
The Substance. But it's that idea of you can't escape your own mind. And if you are the person that's going to be 150 years old and everyone else around you is not.
So like, I never even thought about being a prisoner of your own mind, that even if your body was going on. I visited my father today. My father is 96 years old. He suffers from dementia. He lives in a memory care facility. And like walking through the facility to go to where his room is, there's like this common area. And there are people that they're literally just sitting there like vegetables, watching TV together. Some of them are in a really bad state, like they can't feed themselves. They're like hunched over like this. And of course we see this and we're like, fuck no, I don't want to get old. This is awful. And the cost involved. So how controversial is it that there is this man who was at one point deeply, deeply suicidal and started to do some experiments where he essentially has used his body like a guinea pig to try what would happen if you were to live life perfectly. Like if you were to rearrange your life and your existence and the choices that you made. And the way that he describes it, again, there's a new Netflix documentary called Don't Die. I'm sure if you haven't heard about it, you will. It's going to be everywhere. It's so controversial. It's so thought-provoking. It's such an incredible conversation starter. And in this documentary, he was talking about, and I've heard him on Rich Roll, it was a really fascinating podcast episode with him, where he's so misunderstood and he's so vilified in many, many circles. And in some, they think he's a god. They think he is the second coming of Jesus. And he sometimes makes tongue-in-cheek references to Jesus hasn't come back in 2,000 years, but I was able to reverse aging. It's
Right.
unbelievable. So what happens is he started with the concept of the longevity of when I go shopping, like at the grocery store, my mind is choosing these foods. My mind is choosing, maybe they're chips, maybe they're not good for you, but it's all my mind. He is saying that his mind is a very naughty boy. Our minds are not keeping us healthy. And the concept was, when he was consulting with a longevity expert, is what if you had all of your organs measured where you let your body tell you what you wanted versus your mind kind of destroying us. So you think, Danielle, there are so many people that struggle with addiction. We all do, whether it is social media, whether it is alcohol, whether it is food, whether it's shopping, sex, porn, gambling. We all live with a certain type of addiction. So what would it be like if we let our bodies do the driving? And so he is known as literally like a Guinness Book World Record holder of being the most measured man on earth, meaning he has electrodes and things measuring and calculating and things hooked up to his organs and different tracking devices in his body. Can you imagine?
No, I can't, but I'm grateful that somebody's willing. We do know that there is the connection between the gut and the actual brain. And your brain will be very naughty if your gut is very naughty because your gut has been trained to want certain things. So if we have someone who's willing to take the things and do the things and be prodded, more power to him. I hope he's onto something here. I do see that there's a little bit of a slippery slope because when is a good enough life a good enough life? I feel like that's more the challenge I have with it than the ethics of him doing it. I mean, it's his body. So I don't see ethical challenges there. I think the challenge for me is more, is this a healthy mental pursuit? Is it a healthy psychological pursuit?
But I wonder if it isn't like the critique on Bryan Johnson are a lot. Like there's so much, as you can imagine, doing something this controversial where at first blush, you're like, this guy is a nut job. Who is going to do that? We've been dying for as long as we've been here. You know,
Right.
like it's the one thing that is
Well,
inevitable.
one thing we
that
all
and
have
death
in
and
common.
taxes.
Yeah.
It's the one thing we all have in common. And so it is the concept of, are you cheating death? Are you just a rich dude? And so there's so much about the income inequality. There's so much about there being a list of billionaires that are trying to use their money to prolong their lives, where there are people that are just struggling to put food on the table, let alone get hooked up to all these machines and track themselves and really dedicate their entire life for this. So he spends about $2.5 million a year just on this. So he is tested, he does genetic testing, he takes like 150 supplements a day. Can you imagine? So
Wow.
he's got this protocol where he wakes up at 4:30 in the morning and he turns on like a UV light. So it looks like it gives him vitamin D in his bathroom. And he has this regimen. It's very, very disciplined, very, very strict. And he seems to love it. And he's literally aging backwards. One of the things I thought was really funny is I looked online about, does this guy have sex? Like, is he dating? What's happening? Could you imagine if your life is so regimented, is there time for connection? Is there time for a social life? He is really, really strict that he's not going to go out partying. He goes to bed at 8 p.m. And you know when his last bite of food is? 11 a.m. 11 a.m. He has a 2,000 calorie diet. He eats the same exact thing every day. And he's vegan, done by 11 a.m. because it impacts his sleep, his ability to fall asleep at 8 or 8:30. And so he's been measuring for years where he has like an entire year of like perfect sleep scores.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
There is some benefit here. And so he has a woman, her name is Kate. I am really trying to figure out who the hell is this Kate woman. Are they banging? What's happening? She's been with him since the beginning. She is the second person to follow this strict protocol and kind of devote her life to this. So they're kind of doing it together.
Ask, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you would
But
have to.
she's the chief marketing officer. And she had the suggestion, why don't you publish all of your statistics and all of the results online and just open it up to the public? And at first, nobody was responding. And then all of a sudden it got picked up and it has gone around the world, around the world, around the world. So I've got to share this.
I am
So about
so
his
fascinated
dating.
with this.
Oh my God, Danielle, he has scheduled sex sex. No real partner that we can tell. And so I found online, he posted this on Twitter/X last year about what he shares on first dates. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. He put, expectations are important. What I share on first dates. Number 1, 11 a.m. dinner. Number 2, 8:30 p.m. bedtime. Number 3, no pillow talk. Number 4, you sleep alone. Number 5, and this is his big one, no small talk, really don't care.
You know, you got to love somebody who knows what they want in life.
I mean,
but
number 6,
but there's
Tom
more?
doesn't have to worry quite yet. Yeah, there's 10 of them. Number 6, no sunny vacations. Because too much, it'll impact his skin. Number 7, scheduled sex. Number 8, veggie daddy. Number 9, must give plasma. And number 10, you're not my number 1 priority. And then he put, unsure why I'm still single. I mean, he's very tongue in cheek about this. Mm-hmm. One thing that I find so interesting about him, he's really self-aware. And so he even sells this olive oil now, and it's called snake oil because people think he's a charlatan or people think he is just some crazy person. But I think even just this whole concept of being measured and being so rigid every single day, are you living a life if you are under this rigidity?
I think there are people in life who find joy in discipline because it gives them a perception of certainty and control in a world where things are rather uncertain and uncontrollable.
But I wonder about the control thing though, because there's so many of us, you and I talked about this privately today, that I'm a total control freak where you're more go with the flow. Even just the rigidity of trying to control your own destiny, where people are like, I hope you get hit by a bus and this is all the joke's on you. And who knows, this literally is unprecedented. And he is aging backwards. So I think right now he's about 48, but like his organs have different ages of what they are. Like your organs don't age at the same rate of each other or as you. And so he has like a 37-year-old heart and an 18-year-old something or other boner. I have no idea. Like they literally track how many erections he gets every night.
No kidding. That's hilarious.
Hey, it's Allison. Are you stuck figuring out how to launch your next big idea or take your goals to the next level? Well, let's fix that. As a no BS coach, I help ambitious women turn ideas into results, whether it is launching a podcast or pivoting careers or starting something entirely new. I am offering a free, no pressure one-on-one brainstorming session to map out your next steps. You can go to AllisonHare.com/schedule and grab your spot. If we're a fit, we'll create a plan that works together. If we're not, I'm going to guide you to the right resource. There is nothing to lose here. It is a new year, time to get what you want. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, okay, I got the metabolic scale, what weighs you. And my metabolic age is 8 years older than my actual age.
Oh
right.
My God.
So I'm looking at this and I'm like, whoa, dude. Like I thought I would have a little weight to lose here post-COVID.
Unsubscribe.
I've been dragging my feet here post-COVID, not going to lie. But I mean, when I saw that, I was like, wow, I have to make some changes now. And I think that there's value to knowing a certain level of what's really going on and not turning a blind eye to it, which I think is a big problem, especially here in America. But how much information is enough information? And so the vigilance to reverse the metabolic age, great, but to live forever, to not die, that goal to me borders on unhealthy. But I appreciate it for the good of humanity, and I don't want him to get hit by a bus. I'd love for this guy to live to 150 years old. It would tell us a lot about us and our habits, which I do think our habits are what are killing us most of the time. I mean, we know that. I don't see why people are hating on him, but I can see I can respectfully disagree with that goal being a goal that we should applaud. I think that's where letting people do what they should do for themselves is one thing, but to encourage it, I think maybe also just contributes to this perfectionism idea of your life isn't that good unless live your life. But if this becomes a mantra and a hill to die on, and you're on a soapbox, and all the yes men around you just keep telling you that this is the best thing ever, that's dangerous. That is a cult-like issue of groupthink for this person. And if he already had suicidal tendencies, I don't know, it feels a little scary to me to have a black and white view of whether life can be good only if I can live the longest or I can reverse my aging.
But that's why I think it is such an interesting question, because I was looking at biohacking. So biohacking is the practice of like optimizing every single aspect of your life to live better, to feel better, to think better. And I was thinking about the difference of, for women, it's anti-aging is really female and typically skincare. And biohacking is predominantly a male, associated with male and often alpha male thought process of optimizing. And I was wondering, like, why is it biohacking for men, but women, it's you cannot age, you cannot look like you age. And I don't know if I'm conflating the two, but I just thought it was an interesting perspective around biohackers, which in many cases is a really great thing to make better choices and be cognizant and be intentional about everything that you do. I do think that level of rigidity. I am somebody that had struggled with disordered eating and body dysmorphia and orthorexia, which is like when you overdo working out, meal prep and those kind of things, where you go on the extreme measure. So I have to be careful of the rigidity part, because I have been there. That obsessive led to eating disorders for me. And so many people make it a derivative of like, the derivative is, well, he's just a white privileged man that has the time and the money to do this. And really his fight on this is, let me prove what I can prove. Like, I'm going as far as I possibly can, and I'm not making anybody else do it. But what my hope is that as people do join and decide to do this, then if more people want to be tested for this, then those prices and those accessibility will come down and it will be more accessible. That's where I think this gets so interesting.
Oh, yeah. I think his point is very valid. Even if, is it right that some people have more privilege than others? No, that's not right. It just is. When we start trying to tell people they're right or wrong because of some reality that they're experiencing, it's just unhelpful. If this person has the financial ability and the psychological wherewithal to go through this process and to share the data, right? Because you said like he agreed to share it at some point, but that didn't seem to be the original intention of it. But if he has found that, oh, not only can I do this for myself, but I'm willing to share this data with others, I'm glad people do stuff like that. Now, at the same time, you brought up a really interesting point, and I think it's worth bringing out in the open. In order to be a beautiful woman that looks like she's not aging, a few things have to be true for you too. You have to have access to this money. You have to have the chefs and the doctors and the trainers and the nannies to make sure the kids are still living and surviving while you're doing all of these perfectionistic things to your body. And if your whole purpose in life is to be a screen actress, being a beautiful screen actress, and you can achieve that for 30 years rather than 20 by a few procedures or whatever, great. But if we're going to tell everyone else that that's the gold standard of what we're all supposed to be.
But that's the thing, like a famous, beautiful actress, just by her virtue of being a public facing person, that is sending the signal. As look at Nicole Kidman. When you look at her face, she's gorgeous, but it doesn't look entirely natural at this point, you know? And I know we're not supposed to comment on women and aging and all of that, but there's something that's like, it's obvious that she has had work done. And so it does set the signal that this is the gold standard. And I think that is where we as females are like, I need to look like that. Like, I cannot wait to get a facelift. I cannot wait until I could drop 25 grand and get my face picked up, because I cannot stand to look at myself aging. And it is a sad concept of like aging is like the ultimate worst thing that can happen. We don't factor in wisdom. We don't factor in, I think our assumption is as you age, your body's going to break down, your organs are going to break down, your mind is hopefully will stay engaged. But if it doesn't, that is very common too. Like, it doesn't feel like an exciting trip to Fiji.
Right. It's like the wealthy men are pursuing the hacking and maybe something is synthetic, but all of these supplements are synthetic, right? Like, so a woman does a surgery that's plastic, that's fake. A man takes these supplements, they're synthetic supplements. Like, they are fake supplements made to do the things that the real chemicals do. They're all man-made. The distinction, I think, is that we judge women that do it. And then for the men that do it, we're like, oh, hacking your body. Thank you so much for hacking your body to help us all learn more about ourselves. But like, what if this person took that discipline and that ability to hyper focus in on that and did something like study astrophysics or curing cancer or eradicating poverty or...
Well, that's the other thing. Like, what if you took your money to cure cancer? It's almost like a juxtaposition that what if we could eradicate cancer, minimize the chance of cancer by living better? Now the studies have just come out that there is a big link to alcohol contributing to 9 different types of cancers. Like 1 out of 6 women who get breast cancer, 1 out of 6 of women who get breast cancer, they find that alcohol is a contributing factor. And so it's just what I understand about Bryan Johnson and his perspective is the thought is like, let's treat after you're sick. And he's saying, what if we live better? What if we lived where our bodies were telling us what to eat, not our minds? He's demoted his mind and promoted his body. And I don't know. I wonder what it is like to be free of your mind.
I was going to say, I don't know that you can. I don't know if I buy that completely. I just don't know.
Playing God. Is it playing God?
But also, like, is it even realistic and possible that you can disconnect the brain, which is the central nervous system for all the other nerves that hit in? I had my gallbladder removed after my youngest son was born because I started having gallstones, which is very common in women, especially women that are geriatric pregnancy, as I was, according to my doctor. I also suffer from minor scoliosis in my mid-back. And so I have a lot of tension and pinching in some of my skeletal, my muscles and things like that. And I have a chiropractic doctor friend who's like, girl, you never needed to get that gallbladder removed because I could have helped you just by keeping you aligned. And I believe that that is in fact true. So I think that there's room for both. And I think that saying that you can disconnect, saying that your organ health is only related, is separate from your mind's control, I don't think that's true. I think that your mind controls everything. But if you've trained your mind to focus on your physical health, then your mind can connect with those organs in a way that maybe other people are not able to do. Being able to focus in on that is amazing. But to say that you're demoting your mind or that you're putting your mind second, no, you are channeling your focus, you're channeling your intention, and you're manifesting the result of this metabolic reversal of your age. So I think it's ultimately a good thing, but it can go too far if you focus too much, like the exclusion of human connection. The connection factor of humanity contributes to health and longevity. And I think one of the reasons my grandmother's been able to sustain so long, I mean, my grandfather died when I was 18 years old. So she's lived alone for 30 years, right? So for 30 years, she's lived alone, but she's always at church and she's always helping her neighbors. And she stays engaged. She's always on the phone with one of her daughters or, just yakking away. And I think that that has value, not just the things you put into your body. Like I said, I mean, she's the Southern grandma. She eats like bacon and eggs, the things that we're not supposed to be eating because they're allegedly aging us. And that's almost her entire diet with no veggies.
I think the connection piece of it in this documentary with Bryan Johnson, and he's been really open about this. He had been excommunicated from his family, but one of his sons went to live with him. And I think they're like two peas in a pod. So he is also following the protocols. So his son is like 18. And during the filming, his son was about to leave for college. So they only had a limited amount of time. And so Bryan would cry a lot, thinking about losing that relationship that he built with his son, not losing, but like not having access for him going away. And where I think this became really interesting. And again, moving from this Mormon religion that obviously has a set of rules, like any tribe, like any group, there is cult-like tendencies, right? Whether you think it's a cult or not is up to you.
Right.
And where I think this movement, this blueprint is what it's called, it is attracting so many people, so intrigued that it has all the makings of a cult. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. Like it, and they even reference it. But I also feel like there is something really powerful about finding your people and like feeling like these are people that think like you support each other. I don't know, like the cult like tendencies. So I think it has sparked a movement all across the globe where he would post something on social media. Hey, I'm going to go run up a trail. If you're interested, and there'd be like 9 people there. And now there are like hundreds and thousands that will show up. And people all over the globe will be showing up for just living life better. And I think it begs the question around connection, that how much joy and peace can we feel? Like we don't have anything if we don't have our health. But if we have our health plus connection, all bets are off. Life is better.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe, I think that's a really good point because in the Think and Grow Rich, speaking of snake oil salesmen, Napoleon Hill wrote the Think and Grow Rich book, and it's a big controversy, right? And there's either people who just believe it is one of the greatest, if not the greatest books ever written on how to create the life you want. And then there are other people that say, oh, he never interviewed any of those people and it was all a big hoax and all, whatever. The truth, in my view, doesn't really matter. If you can get value from what this person says and you can follow those steps and it brings success in your life, then does it really matter whether it's true or not? I think for him, the connection I was at least triggered thinking about was the dating. But you don't have to have a dating relationship or a romantic relationship to have connection, obviously. So like, that's actually true. And I don't want to conflate that. So if he has this tribe of people that give him the connection and he has health, I mean, your point is 100% true. What else do you really need? Especially if you already have all the money in the world.
I think that's the part, like I think about him being suicidal, and very often it's because you don't feel connected. You don't feel worthy of whatever role you have. And I know that like with CEOs and founders, I mean, there is a massive amount of depression and alcohol and addiction that it happens because you're so isolated. Like you are put on this pedestal and you're like, I don't really feel, and even if you do,
right,
it doesn't feel like it is in alignment with who you are. I think where the other criticism of him is that he is looking at profits, right? He wants to be the guru. Like I've heard him say, I want to be in the history books that people are talking about 100 years from now. You can call me crazy all you want, and maybe I am, but I think I'm onto something and I'm sacrificing myself for you. He is getting these massive followers. He is caring about likes and shares and YouTube views and all of those things. And yeah, I bet there's a lot of narcissism that comes along in general with people in this place, but he's pushing the envelope for what's possible. I think the difference is when it comes to somebody else's detriment, and that we don't know. Like all of this is a giant question mark. And he's kind of putting himself first for figuring out what this looks like. And so I'm on board. I've got my popcorn. I'm all about finding out what this is and waiting and not doing.
One of the things that I love so much about you, Allison, is you go deep. You go deep, and I love to go deep. And so for me, when you brought this up, I mean, it was the twinkle in my eye, I think, where you were like, let's have a different conversation, because this type of stuff fascinates me.
Are you going to watch the documentary?
I'm going to watch it.
You're going to watch it tonight. I know you are. Like after your date
maybe
night?
After date night. Yeah, we have date night. So maybe tomorrow. Yeah. But I mean, being in the entrepreneur circles, it's almost like if you don't embrace some level of this hacking idea, then you're going to fall victim to an addiction. An entrepreneurial mind is somewhat of an obsessive mind.
Yeah.
And that obsession is what makes some people very successful.
Yeah. You got to be a little bit crazy, right?
You do. You really do. And I think that entrepreneurs that are real and know they are self-aware enough to know, I'm going to be an outcast. I'm not going to fit in. They probably never really have. And it sounds like he struggled as a youth being an outsider to this very strict culture. And it's almost like he's found a way to validate himself, honestly, to all the people that maybe thought he wasn't worthy. That's where some of the concern of, is this about perfectionism? Is this about proving worthiness? Is this about showing that I'm the best, that I always was, that I always will be? That's why I want to go deeper into it, because I don't want to make assumptions about that, but I just feel that can be, you just have to be mindful of all these things.
What a human way to talk about a superhuman feat. What a great way to wrap up our conversation today, because I think it is putting the humanity back in what he's doing of needing validation, but he could really be onto something. And I am here for the ride. I'm strapped in. I can't wait to hear what you think when you watch this. And I'm so grateful to have you on, Danielle, and kind of unpack this live. I wasn't sure, like when we started, I was like, this could be a total shit show where we're just,
I think my sound is kind of a shit show here, but sorry.
I just think having this conversation live, it's such a conversation starter and something so interesting to consider of, would you want to live longer? And I imagine if you could be healthy, if you could have your mind intact, if your body was intact, and you were able to have more time with your children and you're healthier, would it be worth it? And it would be a totally different game. But I think in my mind, the chances of that are so low, which is ridiculous, because I think that our generations before us, that wasn't the case. I mean, we're eating processed food. There's 40% of Americans, I think, are obese. Heart disease is the number one killer. What if it wasn't so? And so I'm all for an alternative way. We are the Reinvention Room. I love an unconventional path to a better future if it can work. And I'm here for it.
Me too. I love all the unconventional paths. So I'm rooting for him. Honestly, I really am.
I am too. Well, thank you so much, Danielle.
Yes. Thanks for having me, Allison.
So, what do you think? Visionary or just another tech bro with too much money and time? Bryan Johnson is one I am going to follow like a hawk. I bet you are as well. And I can't wait to hear what you think of the Don't Die documentary. It is literally reinventing aging, control, and what it really means to live well. It is reinventing live long and prosper, right? So if you love today's episode, share it with a friend who loves a juicy debate. And if this new live format hits for you, let me know. Until then, I leave you with a loving reminder to spread your arms wide, to take up more space and create a room big enough to hold every beautiful inch of all your dreams and desires so you can create the life that you want on your own terms, because you deserve it all. I'm Allison Hare. Thanks for holding space in the Reinvention Room.